welcome back to my channel. If you watched last week's video, you know that I have a lot going on, and I was really struggling to think of what to talk about today. And I was thinking about how I've been reacting to what's been going on in my life lately, and realized that my stress has been manifesting in a lot of different ways at different points. Like, it's not always the same reaction. And it got me thinking about just stress in general and what stress does to our bodies and how it manifests in different people. If you've been watching my videos for a while, you know that I have a dog who keeps popping in and out of here with her toys, trying to play. And I've never had a dog, so it's been a whole new learning experience just watching her grow and trying to understand her moods and her reactions to things. And we've been watching this like dog trainer show where he comes in and works with just behavioral issues in dogs. And he was talking about dogs that are aggressive or deemed aggressive and how they're really just stressed out. They're stressed out by their situation or by their environment or stressed out by a perceived threat. And for them, it manifests in aggression. You know, they're scared, they're nervous, and they're emotionally reacting to what's in front of them because they feel unsafe and unstable and uncertain. And I realize that that's really not too far off from how we humans react to stress. I know when things start to really stress me out, it's because I feel this lack of control over my life and over my situation, and I'm really uncomfortable. I feel like I can't control my time or my schedule or my emotions even, and that there's so much to do and I don't have enough time to do it. It's a lot of overwhelm too. So my stress manifests in a lot of anxiety and in a lot of really big feelings, and sometimes not understanding what the actual stressor is. Like something little will trigger me, or the dishes are piling up and I lose my mind because I can't control myself. And because I'm so stressed out that it's all building up, that just one silly little thing can tip me over the edge. And I feel like that's pretty common actually. Our stress triggers our nervous system to react. It's a fight or flight instinct, right? That's what causes that stress and that adrenaline rush where we feel like we have to be reacting because we're in danger. And obviously, over the course of history and time, that danger has gone from physical, animals about to attack me danger, into our daily modern stressors, which may be less physically threatening, can still be extremely threatening. And there's no right level, I think, of what can stress you out. Like, no one can tell you that what you're stressing over is silly because they aren't in your shoes and they don't know your history and they don't know what's going on in your mind or what else is building up. Like when I freak out over the dishes or over the dog being crazy, it's not really because of that situation, right? It's because of all of this other stuff that's been building up inside of me. And it's just finally coming out with this last little thing that's going on. But I think a lot of what is manifesting as stress is just that feeling of lack of control, like lack of control with your finances maybe, or lack of control over your job situation, or lack of control over a partner in a relationship that you're trying really hard to maintain or fix, or you're trying to adjust and the other person isn't. And you can't control that situation. You can't control that other person. You can't control your boss. There's so much in this life that we just have no control over. But we are fortunate enough to live in this day and age where we actually do have a lot of control. And this idea that we don't have control over our lives is just a story that we tell ourselves, because even when we are more stressed out by being out of control, it's something that we can point to and say, hey, look, I'm not in control here. Everything's falling apart because I'm not in control. And that is just something we tell ourselves. And that idea is just so misconstrued. We do have a lot of control over our lives now, and that does give us some sort of sense of stability. You know, if we are struggling with our finances, there's a million free apps that you can download to try to get your savings back up or to try to monitor your credit score, or little things that we do to think that we have regained some of that control. But really, we can't control things. There's so much out of our control. And I think there is a lot of beauty in realizing that and in finding what my therapist calls ease in unease, finding and understanding that things are not in my control, and that's okay. Things will still be okay, even if it's out of my control. Even if right now I can't help my sick relative. There's literally nothing I can do in that situation. And as difficult as that is to accept, it just makes me focus on what I can control, which is being there for him and being there for my family and showing up. That's what I can do. I can be myself and be there. There's nothing else I can do. I actually was going to spend this video talking about little ways that you can try to regain control, because depending on the situation, that's also something beneficial. Like if you're really struggling with one area of your life, like your work or your job, then having a little bit of control over your home can ease that sense of unease and can ease that situational stress, where I might not have control over this aspect of my life, but I can control how clean my house is, and I can control when the dishes get done, and I can wash my bed sheets occasionally because they need to be washed, and that's something I can do. That's something that I can be proactive with. And I was going to spend a lot of this video talking about those tips because that's been something that's helpful for me when I am feeling a strong sense that I'm not in control of things, is that I look for little things that I can focus on instead, like updating my resume or cleaning the kitchen, taking out the trash, just something little that'll get you out of your seat and actively doing a small minor thing that's productive. And those little things are great when you do have just general stressors in your life. It gets you out of your head, it gets you moving, it helps you think clearly because you have a small task in front of you that you're just crossing off your list. But for the bigger things that are going on that you really don't have control over, there's no amount of cleaning in my house that I can do that'll help me forget what's going on. There's no amount of busy work that can keep my mind off of my life right now. And so I think that's where I'm at now, which instead of combating the stress and looking for ways to ease that tension with busy work, I realize that instead I need to just be embracing the stress and welcoming it and understanding what the root cause is, and understanding that I'm reacting in this way. That doesn't mean that I'm angry about the laundry or whatever. I don't think I've ever gotten angry about laundry, but just as an example, it doesn't mean I'm angry about this one thing, but I need to sit with myself and understand why I'm actually stressed out. And that even if there's nothing I can do right now, that's okay. And things will still be okay, even though I'm not in control. And I don't know about you, but I'm such a type A perfectionist type person that just admitting that is so hard for me, that things can be fine even if it's not in my control. I'm such a planner. I used to actually event plan. So every second of every event, every minor detail, every tablecloth, every napkin fold, every fork placement, down to the T, right? Such a control freak personality. And so to be in this position where I can't do anything, I can't plan for this. I can't plan for my future right now. Even planning a vacation is tough, and tough to think about because I don't know where I'm going to be in 3 months. I don't know what's going to happen. And so accepting that and accepting that the stress is going to be there, and instead of fighting it, asking what it needs right now and embracing it and trying to listen to the stress and listen to what is actually going on with me. Am I angry? Am I sad? Do I need a break? Do I need a rest? Do I need to walk around the block? What does my body actually need right now to ease the stress a little bit? Instead of fighting it, I want to start approaching it with open arms and saying that I understand that you're here to tell me something. Otherwise, I wouldn't be stressed out. I wouldn't be having an anxiety attack if my body wasn't trying to tell me something and if I wasn't supposed to listen. So I'm trying to do that more. I'm trying to listen. I'm trying to understand what the stress is telling me, what unresolved issues I might need to deep dive into, what things in my life I need to let go of, what perspective I need to gain around my life. Like, work problems seem a little less intense lately, and any issues going on, any drama in different friend groups doesn't matter. And it's getting me to really focus on what does matter and getting me to really listen to myself, which I realize that I haven't done in a very long time. And despite being super goal oriented and focusing on my dreams and my hopes for the future, I haven't actually been listening to what I want and what I need. And I think, if anything, that's what my stress has been trying to tell me, that a complete lack of control can throw me off so much. And that means I think I have more control than I do, if that makes sense. It means that I think I can control more in my life than I do, than I can. And just accepting that has been a real journey for me, and accepting that there's a lot that I'm unsure of, a lot that I'm unclear on, but that it'll be fine and it will work out, because things do. And I trust that, and I trust that things will be okay, regardless of what that looks like in the future, regardless of whether or not I think that future is okay right now. It eventually will be. And I think that that is what I've needed to learn through my stress lately. I think she started screaming eventually, and just screaming to try to get my attention with really bad anxiety attacks and really bad reactions to triggers. And it's hard. It's hard to stay calm. It's hard to be present when your stress is reacting. It's hard to have that perspective when your nervous system is so on high alert that it can't calm down, that you're always looking for the next ball to drop, that you're always anticipating the worst thing, and you're always prepared to attack and to fight or flight. It's hard to unlearn that. We spent millions of years doing that, of relying on our stresses and relying on our nervous system increases to protect us. But now we don't really look at it that way. We don't look at our stress as something that's trying to protect us. We look at it as an annoyance and like a drama queen, instead of listening to it, instead of trying to hear what the stress is trying to protect us from and learning from that. So I think that's what I want to do. I think moving forward, I want to listen more to my body. I want to listen more to my stress and welcome that little anxious friend, and accept what it's trying to teach me and accept what it's trying to protect me from, which is pain, right? We're always trying to protect ourselves from pain, whether that's physical, mental, emotional. Our stress is just trying to protect us. And learning that even though it's trying to protect me from this future pain that may or may not happen, that could happen at any point in time, I understand that it's trying to protect me from that, but focusing on that future pain is not helping me right now. And focusing on what I have no control over is not helping me right now. I have to just accept it and be okay with it and learn from it. That's where I'm at right now. I want to stop fighting. Stop fighting my body, stop fighting my emotions and my reactions, and welcome them and give them space to breathe and try to make them as comfortable as possible. Going back to that dog analogy, that little stress inside of me is freaking out because she's uncomfortable and she's scared and she's nervous. And I might not have control over these situations in my life, but I can try to make her comfortable and I can try to give her space and allow her room to realize that at this moment, right now, I am in a safe place and it's okay that I don't have control right now. And that we can find comfort in that discomfort. And we can find comfort in the comfortable things even when I'm uncomfortable. That was another thing, finding ease in ease. Because when you're so on high alert, when your nervous system is so raised all the time that you can't calm down, it's really hard to acknowledge these moments that are good. These moments where you are comfortable and these moments where you aren't nervous and scared or uncomfortable. It gets harder and harder to acknowledge those when your nervous system is raised and when you're stressed out all the time. But giving yourself that space to accept the stress instead of fight it, and giving that room to grow and to tell you what it needs to tell you will help you see the good moments better, because you're not always fighting. You're not in that reactive fight or flight mode all the time. You give yourself permission to sit back and breathe and relax for a minute, and then you start to notice the good things that you do still have that can help you get through the tough times where you don't have control and when you are really stressed out by a lot of things. There's always going to be a few things in your life that you can cling to and find comfort in. And so you want to rely on those things as much as you want to create that safe space within yourself as well. So if you're going through something, if you're really stressed out, I know it's hard. I know it's really difficult to have little control. It's really hard to not know what's going to happen later and to just try to find comfort in that anyway. But I'm with you, and I see you, and I acknowledge your pain, and I know that things are going to be okay. But trust yourself. And as always, take time for yourself. And I'll see you guys next week.